We're talking some Ty West movies today on
Ty
Gene and
West.
Roger Talk Movies, so thanks
I
for
think we're
joining.
we're gonna go on a Ty West kick for a
A
little
little
bit.
bit of one anyway. We've
Yeah.
talked about X, Pearl, and Maxine in the past, which we enjoyed all of them. I mean,
Yes,
X and
good.
Pearl more than Maxine, but
Yes,
they all
yes.
fit in with the nice
One
trilogy.
and two better.
So we figured we'd hit another Ty West movie, so we're talking House of
House
the
of
Devil.
the Devil, 2009.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
one of his very early ones, but I hate wasting time. So, Gene, where are you at with House of the Devil?
House of the Devil. All right. Ty West. Yeah, it just started watching this thing. You know, it was always like we review horror flicks, right? So it's like, which one do we do next? Well, I don't think we've really explored Ty West enough because he has produced a ton of horror movies. Roger mentioned the 3 movies that we've seen already. So House of the Devil, I think we'll try another one next week. A Ty West movie. But start watching this thing, and all of a sudden, who shows up? And she's credited as the landlord is Dee Wallace, famous. Come on, from E.T.
Well, and The Howling.
And
The
well, I
Howling,
don't think
yeah.
as famous, from The Howling, but we
It's a
reviewed that
horror
movie.
podcast.
Yeah, we reviewed that movie, and I remember the great theme from The Howling was that it's really like the movie shouldn't be called The Howling. It should be called Dee Wallace meets some vampire
Vampire
no,
werewolves.
Dee Wallace meets some werewolves sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it's really a Dee Wallace movie. She's in almost every scene, it's just pure comedy. I think it's unintentional. I remember as a kid watching that movie in a drive-in. I don't know. Me and my cousins were all scared, but whatever.
Right.
And then also, who shows up in this movie as well? It's like the horror movies can just be a treasure for like just people just showing up. They're like big stars. This Greta Gerwig. Oh my God, come on. She's a multi-dimensional kind of actress, but also known well as a writer and director. Famously directing Barbie, the Barbie movie, and there's an upcoming Narnia flick, which she has also wrote and directed. And so Greta Gerwig is like big time. She's also starred in some movies. Frances Ha comes into mind as an actress, but she's done a lot of like really, really good flicks, and she's recognized as being probably one of the premier writer directors like in Hollywood. So yeah, and here she is, 2009 Ty West horror flick,
Slumming it, yeah.
yeah, slumming it, yeah, exactly,
Getting her foot in the door.
Yeah, but this movie starts out as
but Gene, now
Yeah.
you've mentioned 2 people. What about the other 2 famous people?
the
See,
protagonist.
I
don't
knew,
know them.
I knew,
See,
I
don't
knew
know them.
Gene would not notice this person. Mary Warnoff plays the wife. You
I
don't
don't
see.
know
Oh my
Mary
gosh.
Warnock. I don't know this.
Mary-
Roger, fill
Mary
us in.
Warnoff is one of the all-time great cult film actresses, most famous possibly for Death Race 2000 and Eating Raoul.
Eating row. Okay, no, I
She's
know it.
been in just about every Roger Corman movie ever.
Okay.
And so it was awesome to see her in this role.
Yeah,
and
very
then, of course,
limited though. Yeah,
And like Dee Wallace has one scene. It's at the
Dee
beginning,
Wallace,
right?
but you just know who she is.
And then Tom Noonan, of course, is in this, who played the most famously the killer in Manhunter.
okay,
So take that, Gene. There's
Okay,
a lot of
all right.
there's a lot of people in this movie.
Manhunter. Let's review that one. I guess I don't know it because I haven't seen it.
Right.
But anyway, it's like not to talk about plot too much, but there's this two college buddies. There's Samantha, who's the protagonist, and then Megan, Greta Gerwig's Megan. And so they're 2 buddies, and Samantha's got this problem. She's a college student. She lives in the dorms, but she's got a roommate that just has. She's the worst roommate ever. She's sloppy. She's a mess. She has guys over all the time. She can't. Yeah. So, roommate from hell. So she's desperately trying to find a place to live. So she meets Dee Wallace, this is the landlady. She finds a place, but of course, she's a college student. She's got no money. Right. She's got no cash. And so, but she finds this babysitting offer, and she ignores one of the best pieces of advice ever given. And something I think all women should know, all men should know too, is that if an offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. And it most definitely is. And so gets this offer, babysit for this old lady. and paid hundreds of dollars for just a couple hours work. Yeah, what could go wrong? And so Greta Gerwig, Megan just tells her, you shouldn't do this, but of course.
Gets mad at her for deciding to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the voice of reason is not listened to, and so what happens is bad things happen to Megan. And then this house, it's this well-maintained but old, creepy house, and so, and it just kind of, as the movie progresses, it just kind of reminds me of a Peter Fonda movie, Race with the Devil. Remember that thing?
Of course I do.
Yeah, 1975. And I guess the theme of that movie that kind of reminded me of this movie was that it just seems like everybody's in on it. Like there's a satanic process going on. It's like I guess but the goal of this satanic group is they want to, I guess, conceive the devil, right? So you want the devil to come back, blah, blah, blah. So, but you need a surrogate, right? And so this got to happen, according to this movie, it's got to happen when in lunar eclipse, which just happened actually worldwide. And I got some great pictures of it. It's commonly called blood moon because the moon turns red. But in this movie, maybe they didn't know about astronomy. Anyway, but there was a lunar eclipse. So I guess when a lunar eclipse happens, if you get the right girl at the right time, you write blood on her tummy, and then you pour blood in her mouth, you conceive the devil.
Right.
So that's what happens. And this movie is kind of slow, but it's deliberate slow, and it moves at a good pace. You're never bored. A little interesting things, though, like nothing really happens in terms of like this whole satanic battle or ritual until like the 4/5 of the movie have already gone by.
15 minutes in, or 15 minutes left.
Yeah, 15 minutes left. And you're just like, I would remember I was looking at the timer on my iPad. It's like, this movie's almost over. And like, we haven't got to the great part. So they wait till the end, but it's okay. The pacing, Ty West paces it well. And the movie still works. I mean, and it works for a lot of reasons. I think it has great characters. You really like Samantha and Megan with college. You really like them. It has a common problem. Everyone has money problems. Well, I guess not everybody. But and people, when you're talking about money, people make poor decisions. It happens. Friends, Megan's a great friend. Hopefully everyone has a good friend like Megan in their life, and the dark hallways, all of these horror movie tropes. So I don't know, the movie works. I really like this thing. So I'm glad we watched it. It works. It happens. And at the end, there's a lot of a gun comes into play quite prominently, and so people get stabbed. Yeah, there's a certain body count, but it all happens like in that last fifth.
Right. No, it's definitely a throwback. And Ty West is kind of, his thing appears to be, I want to replicate the movie-going experience from a certain time. And so, like, when you look back at X, he was replicating a 1970s experience, theatrical experience, with the way he shot the film. Pearl was, let's go back to the Technicolor 30s era.
Yep, way back, right.
Maxine was like, let's focus on the 1980s.
Like, I thought it was the 70s, 80s.
Maxine went into the early 80s there.
Yeah, and this movie was set kind of, it was 2009 it was made, but set in 83 or something.
Right,
like that.
So this one has a late 70s, early 80s feel to it, and you notice it right away. First of all, it's filmed in 16 millimeters, so you've got that Texas Chainsaw Massacre grain going on.
Right.
But then also, even like the opening credit sequence is in the font that you would have seen from like Amicus films from the late 70s.
Yep.
And he makes some interesting editorial choices because there's a lot of fade outs and quickly fading back in, just showing kind of the transference of time there, or the passage of time. But it's in mid scene, so she'll be investigating the creepy haunted house. She'll be walking up the stairs. It'll fade out and then fade back in, and she's a little bit further down the hallway. So there's this real interesting I'm learning how to be a filmmaker thing going on, but also replicating the time frame, which he does really well. You did mention Race with the Devil, and you mentioned
with the Devil. Everybody's in on it.
You mentioned Peter Fonda. You also need to mention Warren Oates, who is one of the all-time greats.
Fill me in on Warren Oates.
Warren Oates, you need to go down the Warren Oates filmography and
Oh,
maybe start
maybe
with
we
his,
should do that.
no, he's not a horror guy really, but
Oh.
Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. You've never seen that thing, or Dillinger or whatever. Anyway, that Race with the Devil's great just because Peter Fonda, Warren Oates, you can't lose with those guys. But I also like this movie.
Oh, good. You liked it too. Yeah.
Because it's very reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby, those kind of movies where it's very slow but not slow. So you're intrigued with what's going on. He does a great job of having the main protagonist wander all throughout this house. So you really get an understanding of the layout of the house.
There was, if I can interrupt, but there were a couple parts that were just, plot conventions that he throws out. Is that like she wanders around the house with this big butcher knife. So I'm just like wondering, it's like, what are you, this doesn't fit, because she's hired to be a babysitter. She's told that there's an old woman. She's told that she likes her privacy. So you should anticipate that there are noises in this creepy house. But then she goes around exploring with this big butcher knife. So what are you going to do with the butcher knife? You're going to stab the old lady? Like why do you have this butcher knife? You should expect these noises. So it was kind of like, I like the phrase, a realm of possibility. So it was a little outside the realm of possibility. And also when Megan, the bad thing happens to Megan, it just didn't seem plausible to me.
So that sequence with Megan is kind of out of left field, but it's a good out of left field based on what happens at the end, because out of nowhere a thing occurs that
it reminds me of like everybody's in on it. Everyone knows what's going on. And that means this web of this culture of Satan has enmeshed a lot of people.
Well, and they do a really good job too, because at one point she discovers, of course, the old photographs scene, right?
Yes.
And so it becomes apparent that maybe these people don't even actually live in this house. They've maybe killed the other people in the house, and now they've kind of moved in there.
Yep.
And so it's got that real kind of slower pacing that you would have seen from something like Rosemary's Baby, but you are intrigued the whole time of what's going on, what's really happening.
Yeah.
And the going around with the butcher knife, I mean, they do.
It's silly, but it doesn't kill the movie.
They do set her up as, she's a college student. She's a naive college student on a certain level, and college students, they do stupid things or they freak themselves out. And she's in this isolated house.
Roger, we were college students.
Right.
You did stupid things, didn't you?
Damn straight I did.
Yeah, I did stupid things. My gosh.
And so I still occasionally do stupid things, but they've got it set up where she's isolated in this house, because they have a decent scene where Megan and Samantha are driving out to this house. It's way out there. Who knows where it is? Yep. So she's kind of freaking herself out a little bit. Of course, she turns on the TV. It talks a little bit about the eclipse. And then, of course, the movie that's playing is Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
So, of course it is.
Which was great to see that. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think this sets the tone for kind of what you would expect going forward with Ti West, as far as how he likes to frame his movies and set them in a specific time.
Sure.
And kind of replicate that, hey, this movie was actually made in 1981 is what he's trying to get down with, even though it's made in 2006 or whatever.
Yeah. And so, he does a good job of being like archaic in that realm. Mm-hmm. Just like his use of old props and old cars is pretty good. So,
well, and my favorite was the dial phone.
Yeah.
where of course, if you're too young to remember the dial phones, where it had the numeric value in the circle and you would have to do this and it would do and then go back and forth. But in all the old TV shows like Hawaii Five-0, you always had to watch, if they're going to make a call, you always had to go through them dialing all the numbers.
Ti West doesn't do that.
He did it in this one.
Well, the 911, we got to watch them all.
Right, but no, when she calls the pizza place, it's the whole
the whole thing?
Yeah. And I was just like, bam, he gets it. He understands what we had to sit through back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah,
because it took forever, because especially if you have to dial a 9, because you got to flip it all the way around, and then it has to spring loaded, right? It's got to go back.
Yeah.
And then you can't do it early. You have to wait till it resets, and then you got to do it again.
Yeah.
So if you have a numbers like 998, it's just your life is over.
Yeah. And so I think on a certain level, this movie is a decent starting point for somebody who's maybe not into a lot of horror, although there is some surprising and significant sequences of violence that kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
but as far as the overall, just how the movie plays out, it's a pretty safe one, in my opinion, for somebody who's not really into horror movies.
Sure, I could see that. But the movie works. We review horror movies, and this one's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gene, anything further to say about House of the Devil?
House of the Devil. Thanks for putting in the clips for these other people, which I had no idea about. So that just gives us something further to explore.
Right.
All right.
Speaking of that, we're going to do Innkeepers next week, another Ti West film, and it has a very interesting connection to House of the Devil, but it has nothing to do with House of the Devil other than this connection, but we'll explain that next week for sure.
I think the actress, Jocelyn, is it Jocelyn Donahue? Is she in it? Is she in The Innkeepers as well?
I don't know. We'll have to find out
Oh,
next
really?
week.
It's going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, I think you do know, but
no, what I'm talking about has nothing to do with who stars in The Innkeepers or anything. It's what brought The Innkeepers to come about. It's an interesting story, but it's directly related to House of the Devil.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And maybe we'll someday we'll review Race with the Devil too.
That one could fit in.
That one, that
it's
movie. Once you see it, that just sticks with you.
I mean, we did Killdozer. We could do Race with the Devil, right?
Yeah, I think Race with the Devil though is magnitudes better than Killdozer.
Well, doesn't have a giant killer bulldozer in it. But it does have Warren Oates and Peter Fonda, who are both great.
Yeah, young Peter Fonda,
and
exactly.
Loretta Swit, I think, is in it too.
Are you serious?
I think so. Yeah.
Forgot about that one. Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
anyway, we're way off track now. Check out House of the Devil if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's good.
And we will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.